Okay, today we're going to talk about addition and subtraction of numbers. This is pretty much kind of a review, but basically let's go over it. So we need to know. You can only add like place values. In other words, you can only add the ones with the ones and the tens with the tens. So let's do an example problem. If I say 2,300 and I don't know, 51 plus 1,642, and I add those up, notice that I have perfectly aligned all my thousands and all of my hundreds and all of my tens and the ones all in the same column. Now that makes a difference because if you're in a hurry, you'll have a tendency to add the ones with the tens and all that stuff. So line them up nice and neat. And then you just add them. If I have 1 ones and 2 ones and I add those together, I'll have 3 ones. 5 plus 4 is 9. 3 plus 6 is 9. And 2 plus 1 is 3. So when I add those two numbers, what I end up with is 3,993. Well, that was a rigged up problem. Sometimes we'll have problems like, let me give you an example. 1,973, okay, plus 2,312. Now, I've lined everything up like I'm supposed to. Now remember, we only use one digit in each place value. So if I add this up, and I start at my ones, 3 plus 2 is 5. That means I have 5 ones. 7 plus 1 is 8. That means I have 8 tens, or 85. 9 plus 3, that's 12. I'm going to write the 2 down. But I still have the 1. I'm going to carry that 1 and place it in the thousands because technically that's where the 1 goes. See, I have 12 hundreds, and if I wrote out 12 times 100, that would give me 1,200. Or 2 in the 100 spot and 1 in the 1,000 spot. Well, now I just added up. 1 plus 1 plus 2 is 4. So if I add those two numbers up, 1,973 plus 2,312, I get 4,285. Let's do another example problem. Let's do 7,853, and we're going to add that to 961. Again, notice that I lined everything up nice and neat. My ones with my ones, my thousands with the thousands, hundreds with the hundreds, and tens with the tens. Adding only one digit in each place value, so 3 plus 4, or 3, I'm sorry, I said the answer. 3 plus 1 is 4. 5 plus 6 is 11. I write down the 1, and I carry a 1. 1 plus 8 is 9. 9 plus 9 is 18, so I write down the 8 and I carry the 1. 1 plus 7 is 8. So 7,853 plus 961 is 8,814. Now for subtraction, you kind of do the same thing. So if I say 5,555 minus 4,321. Again, I line up my thousands with my thousands, and my ones and the tens and the hundreds. I line them all up together. Now, oops, sorry, this is a subtraction problem. Does that look like a big subtraction sign? It'll have to do. This could be written another way too. Over here on the side, we could say this is 5,555 minus 4,321. Those both mean the same thing. It's just that when we line them up vertically, it's easier to keep things in a nice columns. Anyways, in my ones column, I've got 5 minus 1, which is 4. I've got 5 minus 2, which is 3. In my hundreds column, I've got 5 minus 3, which is 2. And then I have 5 minus 4, which is 1. So the difference between 5,555 and 4,321 is 1,234. Now sometimes, like in the other problem, you may have a situation like this, where we need to kind of manipulate our columns to get an answer. And it'll make more sense when we do the problem. So let's do it like we normally do. Do the ones first. 9 minus 4 is 5. Okay, good so far. 8 minus 5 is 3. Now here's the problem right here. I've got 0 minus 2. Well, we don't want a negative number because it throws things off. So what we're going to do is we have to subtract 2 from something. Well, I have 0 hundreds, but if I borrow from the 6, let's say I borrow 800 from the 6, that's going to give me 5,000 here. And I'm not really borrowing 100, I'm actually borrowing just the number 1. Okay, so what I did is I borrowed a 1 from here. That leaves me with 5 thousands. And then over here I have 10 hundreds or 1,000. So really I'm borrowing 1,000, right? I took away 1,000, which is equal to 10 times 100, which is exactly what I now currently have in my hundreds column. Well, when we learned it in grade school, they don't go into this much detail, but that's where it really comes from. But as long as I remember that I borrowed 1,000 from my 6,000 by crossing this out and putting a 5 and tossing the 1 here, I'm good to go. Well, I do know that 10 minus 2 is 8, so it's a lot easier subtracting 2 from 10 than 2 from 0. And then I just carry on the rest of the problem. 5 minus 3 is 2. So 6,089 minus 3,254 is 2,835. Let's practice one more problem. Let's make a lot of borrowing. So 7,000 minus 189, 2, or 1,892. Sounds better when I say it that way. Start subtracting. 5 minus 2 is 3. Uh-oh. I need to borrow a 1 from here. So I go to this. Uh-oh. I can't borrow a 1 from there either, so I have to go over. I'm going to skip one column and borrow a 1 from here. Cross out my 7, put a 6, put a 1 here. Well, now I've got 10, but remember I need to borrow over here. So I'm going to borrow a 1 from here. 10 minus 1 is 9. And I'm going to put that 1 there. So my 1 went from the thousands to the hundreds to the tens. Now I've got everything I need. So 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 8 is 1. And 6 minus 1 is 5. And that's our solution.